You cannot practice meditation if you're engaging in activities that are prohibited. What is this cleanliness? Cleanliness refers not just to taking a shower or brushing your teeth, but cleanliness refers to the body, cleanliness of the body, cleanliness of the mind, and cleanliness of your very being, the soul. So what is this practice? This practice entails you foregoing unclean habits like smoking, drinking. We all know these are unclean habits and you're just polluting your body, which is the only vehicle you have to be able to perform and do your duties. So a responsible person would understand the importance of taking care of their health, which is a big responsibility. So that's why cleanliness is there. In fact, there's a saying, I think it's a famous saying by the Christians. You find this in the Bible where it says, cleanliness is next to godliness. But in fact, in all religion, they say this. But when we refer to cleanliness, it must be holistic and not just cleanliness of the body, but of course, cleanliness of the mind, cleanliness of your thoughts. Because whatever action you create physically, it pretty much makes up your mind. It makes up your consciousness. So if you have unclean habits, it's going to affect your mental, your consciousness to also be unclean, to have unclean thoughts. Why is that? Because your activities, what you're exposing yourself with, is just polluted or unclean. And therefore now you start having unclean thinking, unclean consciousness. And you know that's a cycle. Once you start having unclean thoughts, then your unclean thoughts would create further deeper unclean activities. These are the bad habits that pretty much we end up creating, and it's a cycle and it's hard to get out of it. See, how do you get out of the cycle wherein because a certain type of activity creates a certain type of consciousness, and a certain type of consciousness would create an activity, whether it's higher to elevate you or to degrade you. So this is the importance of why austerity and cleanliness actually go hand by hand. It must go by hand by hand, meaning I cannot practice cleanliness and say, no, I don't need to practice sacrifice, because being clean is a whole sacrifice in itself. You know, what the food you eat, for example, right? Most people eat cadavers, flesh of an animal that was slaughtered. And so you eat that, you pollute yourself, you pollute the body, not just with the poison that, because you know, when animals are killed, they generate so much toxic, what's called adrenaline, because they are being killed and they were so fearful. And so it pollutes the whole flesh and meat. And we eat this. And no wonder, you know, we get all sorts of diseases. And this has already been proven. And I'm not going to dwell on this in terms of why we should not be eating flesh. But that's part of cleanliness. And once you practice this, it not only affects your body, but when you refrain from eating flesh, the karmic reaction from engaging in that sinful activity will also elevate your consciousness, your mind. And once you have an elevated consciousness, it would be easier for you, or it would be more conducive for you to practice meditation. You cannot practice meditation if you're engaging in activities that are prohibited in most places. Of course, now they allow it, but meaning prohibited spiritually, because it would just not help you. So it's very important for us to engage in practices like waking up in the morning, taking a shower, doing yoga, exercises, meditation, because all of these practices, being vegetarian, all of these practices would put you or would set you in this what is called the mode of goodness. These are goodness practices, and the mode of goodness is very conducive for you if you want to learn about spirituality, if you want to learn about building your spiritual character. It's important for us to engage in making that sacrifice and engaging in that second pillar of cleanliness, body, mind, and soul. So how do we clean our mind? By meditation, by the activities that we engaged in. And we could also purify the soul. You could I purify myself when I refrain from engaging in sinful activities and at the same time incorporating new activities that are not detrimental to me physically and spiritually, and that would also be very helpful in mitigating the suffering of others and actually elevating them as well. Follow my Facebook and Instagram for more of the 4 pillars.